Joining us right now on this and, of course, other issues, our good friend Stephen Yates from his Minecraft Lego bunker in an undisclosed location. I said online that he was going to sass talk CCP. But it's good to see you, Stephen, as always. And as you all know, he's a foreign policy expert, having previously worked in the Bush administration, advising former VP Dick Cheney. He also ran Radio Free Asia. Stephen, why in the world is the administration still making these kind of purchases? I mean, I understand that party politics exists kind of everywhere now, but you would think with something like this that it's obvious that this is a bad move.
No, that was a heaping dose of common sense from the former DNI, and it's obviously being rejected by people who either just don't care about our national security, don't care about common sense, or just don't care what they're doing. But there is no justifiable reason to buy almost anything from China that is going into our national security infrastructure. It's taken a very, very long time for people to understand what is plain before their eyes, that the China today is not the Soviet Union of the past. In some ways, it's worse. It's much more powerful, much more capable, much more nefarious, and much more woven into our everyday life. And the national security sphere should be the last area to let it in.
Yeah, I mean, the previous administration restricted it and really, I thought, explained it quite well about the concerns that could come from using this equipment, using this stuff. But for whatever reason, I guess the Biden administration's policy towards China is, well, maybe if we treat them like like an equal, which I think is insane, but maybe if we treat them like an equal, then that will stop their aggression. That's not that. I mean, whether it's official or not, that's sure as heck what it seems like.
Right. Well, at this point, we're sort of at a loss because we don't have a normal president or a normal presidency. And so we can't expect the normal delivery of, say, a foreign policy address during your first year in government, outlining the greatest threat to the country that you're supposed to be leading. And that's what would happen under normal circumstances. But Joe Biden is not our average everyday president and doesn't seem able to deliver that address, even if we asked him to.
No, I don't think so. Which, by the way, this is kind of an aside from that. We're talking about Biden delivering addresses. You've been in the White House. You've worked with presidents before. What is up with the set? What's up with the set that's across the street from I've never seen anything like this. Have you?
No, I mean, the fair kind of, if you want to give them the biggest benefit of the doubt, justification for it is that after our glorious COVID experience, everyone is webcasting and Skyping and whatever else. And so, there might be different kinds of lighting and better setups and all that to do that kind of thing. But, people will give a pretty wide berth to someone that's sitting behind that power desk in that oval shaped office. I don't know why you wouldn't use what you already got. So no, there isn't really a great justification for it, but I strongly suspect that it's just better for staging. And this administration believes the whole world is guided by staging and communication strategy. There's nothing else real in the world.
That's actually a really good point, because I kept thinking, well, aren't they backed by Hollywood? You're telling me that Hollywood can't bring in some lights and sound and, some gaffers and that and bring them in and put them in there in the Oval Office? It's just weird. But at the same time, I'm glad that he's not there behind the Resolute desk, because it just, that to me, I get a creepy feeling. Staying in the same region, but kind of shifting focus here. So I loved and we're just going to bring this up. I love Taiwan News's headline on this. China issues hysterical condemnation of Tony Abbott's visit to Taiwan. So they had the former Australian PM. They said it was a despicable and insane performance. This comes on the heels of news about the U.S. involvement in training the Taiwanese military. And of course, then there was that submarine incident that took place in the South China Sea. And then there was the naval exercise with some of the Japanese and some New Zealand, some of their fleet. So is this, do you honestly think that all of those took China by surprise? And do you think that we've been there longer than the past year? I kind of think we have been. You would know.
Oh, yes. I'm sure that there's much, much more going on than gets advertised. At the same time, it's much less than I would like it to be. And it's interesting to me that this part of the world has become a very popular place to travel. I mean, we have a British naval vessel transiting the Taiwan Strait. It's becoming an international party zone. I welcome it. It's great. There should be more traffic through there. And frankly, it's about time for a former prime minister of Australia to go to Taiwan and actually say some good things, because Australia's taken it on the chin from China pretty bad in recent years. And there's been too many former prime ministers of Australia that after they left office went to make bank in China and then come back and give the soothing message of conventional thinking to their own people. So I loved it that Abbott went there and talked some sense. I thought it was kind of funny that some French senators came through town too, sort of letting the president know, hey, you want to buy some subs? Someone dissed us on some subs. You want to buy some? I think it's all good that this attention is getting there. And frankly, it makes it harder for China to have a go option.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like it's legitimate, not just trolling, but it's actually, there's some weight behind it of the CCP. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, and I love the fact that there's more maritime traffic there too. Didn't China just like create an island in the middle of the water, international waters, and say, "Wait, look, this has always been here. What are you talking about? This is our water." Isn't that like just like putting your couch in the street and saying, "This isn't an easement. This is mine. This is all my area."
You just didn't open the right fortune cookie and find out that Confucius had created this island 5,000 years ago, even though he only lived just over 2,000 years ago. This is a blessed Chinese miracle that this island is there, and it definitely belongs to them.
And they were able, I mean, it just happened to be the perfect size for like a military base.
Oh, and they Pinky promised that it wouldn't be militarized either, but then somehow the fortune cookie was opened at a deeper level and a landing strip arose.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden some material began to pop up just organically at this 1,000-year-old island.
Yeah. And we were all just supposed to believe it. Like we were to believe that one time, what was it, in the Black Sea that he did this? Where Putin dove. Remember with that photo op where he dove and he came up with these magical archaeological treasures that were completely cleaned. They were shiny and clean, despite the fact that they had been at the bottom in the sludge in that for so many years. Speaking now, kind of going towards looking at Russia and Iran, I noticed too, Biden has lifted sanctions on 2 Iranian missile producers. What is this about? Why are we now lifting sanctions on anything, especially has to do with missiles in Iran?
Well, the Biden team came in with a couple of obsessions that are a significant problem, I think, for the United States national security and where the world had been going. One of them is the pagan church of climate change. And that still continues to be the biggest, I think, obsession that's out there. And John Kerry going out and publicly saying that Joe Biden doesn't know what he's talking about was basically to try to get his obsession back on track as car number one in the train. But the other one was going back to the Iran deal of the Obama years. And that has been churning along. Thankfully, they haven't completely undermined the Abraham Accords and haven't completely undermined other things that had moved forward in the Trump administration. But at the core, there's this major strategic choice of where do you place your bet on the future? And the Obama team, that is now the Biden team, has bet that the former Persian Empire of Iran, now run by Islamists, is what they think the future is. And we got to make a deal with them. And everything they do keeps inching back toward wanting to make that deal. First is the climate change deal of the millennium. Next is the Iran deal of the century.
Good heavens. Well, this is going to be a lot to watch, especially as apparently, I don't know. I don't think Biden's really said anything about this other than sending out Jen Psaki to, some strongly worded statements or I don't know. It's just, I don't know what these people are doing in D.C. We don't really see them on the issue, but they're all out there for not Columbus Day, Indigenous Day. The party that was responsible for everything that happened to them here in North America. But I digress. Stephen Yates, at YatesComs on Twitter. Stephen, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being so generous with your time. Good to see you.
Thank you, Dana. Take care.
Of course. You too.